today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite. Well, I know it's one of my favorite subjects.
It is one of my favorite subjects.
Yes, food.
Food.
We're talking about food. Most sources will say prepare for a minimum of 72 hours. However, we're starting to, in emergency management, we're starting to rethink that number. Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Perez.
And I'm Wesley Long.
And we're bringing you a fresh new take on disaster preparedness.
Welcome to Disaster Class.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Disaster Class. I'm Jason Perez.
And I'm Wesley Long. Class is now in session.
Class is in session.
Beautiful.
So, Wesley,
Jason?
it's. I know we've talked about this already, but it's still National Preparedness Month.
National Preparedness Month, indeed.
Yep.
We love it.
We're challenging all of you, each one of our listeners, to do just one thing this month. No matter how small it is, do one thing to be better prepared this month. And let us know. Comment on our social media. Send us a message. Let us know what you're doing to prepare. We really want to hear what ideas you guys got. But anyway, today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite. Well, I know it's one of my favorite subjects.
It is one of my favorite subjects.
Yes. Food.
We're
talking about food. And so we're continuing along our discussion of, we've addressed it in previous episodes of this concept of the 8 essentials. And we talk about this in our class, our community emergency planning class, of 8 different categories that you need to prepare for a disaster and emergency.
That need to be addressed.
They need to be
addressed. And they're based on the community lifelines.
Correct.
Right. So we've talked about community lifelines in the past, about these are the things that maintain the lifeblood and the sustainability of a community. Even if you don't realize they're working for you, they are. They've already been identified. We know what they are. The 8 essentials are based off of that, so that in an emergency, when you don't have those lifelines in your community, you can have them with you on your person. So we already did water. Obviously, extremely important.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about water already.
And now we're talking about food, because obviously food is a necessity.
Yeah.
You know?
So the question is, all right, so we're assembling a go bag or a home disaster kit, a shelter-in-place kit. How much food do we need?
Correct.
Now, this is where there gets a little bit of a controversy. And
all right, let's start at the top, and we'll keep it simple before we start getting to other components of this discussion, which I think we're going to bleed into. But first and foremost, we've talked about this before, but everybody, we want you to have a target in mind. So with a go bag, right, that means you have to evacuate. You have to move. Basically, what that means is the community lifelines in your area have been damaged or broken, and they are not sustaining life and vitality to that community anymore. Therefore, you have to move your physical person from a place that has no community lifelines to a place that does. And all of the governing bodies, that be FEMA, Red Cross, all of them all agree that you should be able to find an area that has intact community lifelines within a 3-day walk of wherever the X, or wherever the natural disaster or the situation, wherever the crisis is that has damaged these community lifelines. Within a 3-day walk, you should be able to get to another location that has those community lifelines intact. Hence a go bag, right? You have to go, you have to evacuate. So the concept is every go bag should have a target of 72 hours worth of food, because with that 3-day trek, you can get to a location where those community lifelines are still intact. So again, it's not saying that, your go bag can't have more than that, but again, that's the minimum target. And that's the why behind the 72 hours, right? So in a go bag, you have to have a minimum of a 3-day supply of, in this case, we're talking about food. If you're doing a shelter-in-place kit, which you talked about, what do you think the recommended time frame is for a shelter-in-place kit now?
So we've been recommending a minimum of 5 days. 5 days for a shelter-in-place kit.
At the minimum, right? And again, the concept there is community lifelines have been damaged, but there is an expectation that they can be put back together, be repaired, be intact within a reasonable time frame so that you don't have to leave.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and kind of going back, so where this kind of came from, most sources will say 72 hours, right? Prepare for a minimum of 72 hours. However, we're starting to, in emergency management, we're starting to rethink that number because in some cases, like we've seen in some major hurricanes, the goal for federal aid and assistance coming in to provide the victims with aid, and in some cases, and in very recent disasters, it's been taking longer than 72 hours. That's the target that, FEMA and all these organizations shoot for, is to have aid within 72 hours, but depending on the scale and scope, sometimes it's longer.
And how bad the disaster is, right?
Exactly.
If there's no ingress and egress in and out of an air, like how is something already, we could fly some things in, but that might not be enough to sustain everybody. So there's always variables, there's limitations. And I think if anything you get from us with what we're trying to do is we try to have you bolster your own supply as much as possible so you can be as self-sufficient as possible for as long as possible.
So the takeaway is, so for a go bag and evacuating, 3-day supply.
Yep.
And then for sheltering in place, you want to shoot for a 5-day supply.
Correct.
So now
a lot of times that's like a 5 to 7. If
5 to 7. Yeah,
go longer.
You can always shoot, right? What we're talking about is the minimum.
Right.
You can always exceed that and do better.
And again, just brass tacks. The reason why 5 to 7 is still reasonable is because you don't have to carry anything, right?
Correct.
In a shelter in place. With a go bag,
you're limited.
You're limited by what you can carry over what terrain for how long and with what space you can manage, right? So there are a lot of limiting factors when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But with shelter in place, if you've got your basement and it's got, it's watertight and you can store, you don't have to carry the food that's there. You can just be stockpiling.
Yeah.
So 5 to 7 is not outlandish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let's kind of get down into a little more of the nitty gritty of, because we've seen an issue.
And we were part of the issue.
We were part of the issue at first. So when we first got into building and designing go bags and selling kits, we kind of just copied what everybody else was doing. Which was, you had a go bag and then in there was a 2,400 calorie bar.
Yep.
And that was, every kit was having a 2,400 calorie bar, and that was for a 3-day supply.
3-day supply.
So then when
we did that,
for a long time, we did that. We put just one 2,400 calorie bar in there. And then, so for some kits, I don't know if we're going to talk about this now, but for a multi-person kit, they'll put in, if it's a 2-person kit, they'll put in 2 2,400 calorie bars. Or if it's a 3-person kit, 3 2,400 calorie bars.
He knows how much I love this. So that he's baiting me right now.
Yeah, I am totally baiting you right now.
I'm not taking the bait.
Okay, good. Well, we might talk about it later, but we'll see.
I'm not doing it.
Anyways, so that was what many people in the industry, many companies, and
by many, it's just about all of them.
Pretty much all of them. That's what they do.
Actually, I don't know that I've found anyone.
I don't think we have. We've done a lot of research. So where this came from,
why?
Yeah, so a lot of those rations that you see in those bags, you'll see they're Coast Guard rations. They're meant for Marine units. So if you're stuck out at sea, you've got food and you can sustain yourself. We got one in the shop here. This is where it came from. These U.S. Coast Guard rations. The boats that are going out have to have these little calorie rations, these calorie bricks, and they have and they're meant for like life rafts and things like that.
Yep, seafaring vessels. According to U.S. Coast Guard, all seafaring vessels have to have
life rafts. Yep.
Right. And it's 2,400 calories is usually what you get, and then it's a minimum 800 calories a day. So you're 800 times 3, 2,400. This became industry standard for go bags.
How and why, I don't know, because so after we started Instinct Ready and we started designing and selling these kits, we started, and then I was in school at the time for emergency management, and we started taking a very academic and science evidence-based approach. And so we just started doing research.
So we asked a question: why is it 800 calories a day? Is 800 calories sufficient? Research, go. Let's see what we can find.
And we really couldn't find any data to support why this would be sufficient for 72 hours for disaster kit. Now, for a life raft or out at sea, it's doable.
Right.
And for the reason
because there's minimal energy expenditure.
Yeah, you're just floating out at sea. You're not really expending a whole lot of energy. Now, translate into what we're talking about with the go bag, right?
Physical,
you may not,
arduous.
You may not have access to a car, as we've talked about in previous episodes. You may have to walk away from wherever you are to get to a place of safety. Now, if you're walking for miles and hours at a time, that's a lot of energy that you're expending. I don't know about you, Wesley, but I don't know that I'll be able to I'll be able to sustain myself on just 800 calories.
Well, some of us have some energy stores.
Some of us have some energy stores.
We have some extra energy that we could use. But again, let's be realistic. Ideally, it's not enough. And we could not find any research that supported us keeping only 2,400 calories in the bag. Yeah. Now, one of the things we had already done was this is not a 2,400 calorie bar. This is a 3,600 calorie bar. So we at Instinct Ready already felt that 2,400 was not sufficient.
Yeah.
So we were at least giving 3,600 with every single kit that we would create and sell. And at least we're like, okay, 3,600, that's 1,200 calories a day. That's a little bit more reasonable. That's better. We felt we were doing our good deed for the community at large.
Yeah.
But in our research, and again, what we've talked about this briefly, but we are writing a research paper that will be submitted for peer review. That is an evidence-based approach to all of the things that we teach in our class. And with that, we are partnering with a lot of highly educated, degreed individuals to help us write this paper so we can set the industry standard for all of these things for go bags, right? Yeah. So the only research we could find.
Yeah, so we went and the only real source as far as a disaster setting was from the World Health Organization, and they recommended 2,100 calories a day being that minimum standard for a disaster scenario.
So we looked at that as not negotiable.
Yeah. So 2,100 calories, that's a lot more than, just one of these is able to provide. Correct. Even we're giving a little extra with the 3,600.
Yeah, our 1,200 calories was closer than 800, but it still wasn't 2,100. So what we did immediately, once we found that information at cost to ourselves, without increasing the cost of our bags, we then supplied 2 3,600 calorie bars in all of our bags. Now, we're not trying to make this an ad for us, but we're just talking about the need for there to be an understanding the why behind food prep, right? So now with our bags, instead of 3,600, you're getting, what is 36 times 2? You're getting, 7,200, which is over the 2,100 per day, which should be a total of 2,100 times 3 would be 6,300, right? So you should be getting 6,300 or 6,300 calories, right? Total for your bag is how much you should have on you. That should be your target. Your target caloric intake for 3 days. So I've not found any pre-made bags other than ours that have anything close to the actual standard of 2,100 calories per day.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing. And there are some really, he wanted me to do this, so I will mention some brands because they are really, really good brands I have recommended before, and they are really, really good products, but this is a very specific area where they're lacking. So Uncharted Supply Co., great bag, great design, waterproof, can be used as a flotation device. I've actually demoed that bag for people, told them to go buy it, especially before we had our offerings available. Really, really good bag. Great company. They're out in Utah. They seem like amazing people. They were on Shark Tank, like great company. You're not getting anywhere near the 2,100 calories a day you should in that bag. And those bags aren't cheap. Like people look at the price of our bags like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Uncharted Supply is generally $100 more expensive at every level of our bag. So really good brand, great company, love their mission, love what they're doing. But that's a huge miss, we feel. Storm Packs, really good brand. I really like some of the things they're doing over there. I like their branding. I like they have a really nice internal modularization system as well that we have. Really good brand. They're not giving you nearly this. Now, they do supplement. They've got other bars that they have to supplement other than just the rations. That's really cool. But again, not nearly the 2,100 calories per day. Then there's Rhino Ready. Pretty cool. I like their stuff. They're kind of newer. Nice bags. You can spend a lot of time in design with them. They look really cool. But again, the functionality, and then again, what you guys need as the end result of the caloric intake is just not there. And this is just one of the minimum survival standards that are important. So, do some research on that. Make an informed decision. And we still say the best go bag that you could ever have
is the one you build yourself.
And that meets the standard, the minimum survival standard. So I'm not saying buy a bag from Instinct Ready. You should build one yourself. That is the most ideal bag you can have. Like, let's just start with that standard. Like, you should be building your own bag.
If you can.
But the time, energy, effort,
and money.
The background.
It usually costs a lot more.
All of that. Yeah, it's going to be tough. So I get it when it's like, hey, let me just grab a bag off the shelf. But plan on buying a bag off the shelf and then augmenting it and personalizing it and customizing it to yourself.
Absolutely.
So really, really important. The other component that we talk about in class, we use words like shelf stable. So what you're packing in your bag should be able to have a decent shelf life.
Unless you're rotating through it frequently.
You're rotating through it, but it's like you're not going to go and just like eat your Daytrex, right, because it's expired. But Daytrex usually has a 5-year shelf life, so that's pretty decent. You don't have to check all the time. And then high caloric options. We talk about this in class, and we get this question often. And really what we talk about in class is there has to be a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Because normally every day we go shopping and we kind of make decisions based on health and fitness and, hey, I want to lose a little weight or I want to do this. And as a result, some of the purchases we make are along that mindset.
There's a lot of fitness trends, diet trends out there, and we get it. That's great. Like, I totally advocate being healthy and eating a healthy diet.
You're going to go do a race soon.
I'm doing a Spartan race in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I'm all about that. But for when it comes to a disaster scenario, high caloric, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the healthiest options because it's all about getting calories.
Yeah, your brain needs fuel.
You need
your
fuel.
Body needs fuel.
You need to be able to sustain yourself, and you're not necessarily going to know if you're going to be having more coming.
Correct.
Like, you may have to do what's available. Yeah. So having high caloric options, especially if in an evacuation scenario where you may have to walk for, you're going to be burning a lot of calories. So
can we give a for instance? So here's a for instance, right? Because I'm the blue collar guy. So what does that translate to me today when I go to the store? So a lot of times people like energy bars, right? So the brand, Kind, really great brand, right? Clean, natural, low calorie, right? To me, again, a lot of this is going to be personal. I don't want Kind bars in my emergency supply kit. I want Cliff bars. Now, generally speaking, people look at Cliff bars and they're like, oh my goodness, those things are loaded with this or loaded with that. I think one Cliff bar, the peanut butter crunch, which is my favorite, I think it's like 240 calories in that one bar. So normally you'd be looking at that like, I don't want, but in an emergency scenario, I want the bar that's 240 calories in quick delivery, because that's getting me closer to my 2,100 calories a day.
Yeah.
Right? So
you're going to be burning it.
It's a mind shift, right? A mindset shift. We just have to change that and think, okay, I'm not making purchases for my emergency stuff that I would necessarily for my daily life. Yeah. This is for an emergency situation, which is why people talk about peanut butter. Yeah, usually high caloric intake, right? Peanut butter, small pack weight, high caloric punch, right? Things like that we want to be thinking about when it comes to food.
Yeah. So one option that we really love,
absolutely,
and we're really excited to have partnered with this major brand is Mountain House. We love Mountain House. So
the category though is freeze dried, right? So we're getting into like this is a Daytrex calorie bar. Yeah. So this is like a cookie, right? It's like a fortified shortbread cookie that doesn't taste amazing, doesn't taste horrible. They are also designed so that they're not going to necessarily, you don't need to dunk them in milk first. They're not going to be dehydrating you, right? Because it's a cookie. You can think that, I'll be dehydrated. So they're designed in a way that they shouldn't dehydrate you as well. Then you get into freeze dried.
Yeah.
So now some of the cool things, we talk about shelf stable, high caloric. What's the shelf life on Mountain House?
So Mountain House, 30-year shelf life.
30
30-year
shelf life. Yeah.
And they're
super
delicious.
Lightweight. I didn't even get to that yet.
Yeah.
Super lightweight.
So let's talk on that real quick. Lightweight.
Okay.
Because one thing when we teach our class and we go through this option of
questions
food,
all the time. We've heard almost every question.
and so we ask, like, what are some of the things that you're putting in your bag?
Can of beans.
Canned food.
Why are you going to carry a can?
Canned.
The weight ratio.
Yeah. Cans are so heavy.
So heavy.
And when you're on the go,
then what are you going to do with it?
And for me, like, I do a lot of backpacking, and anyone who's in the camping backpacking community, you know
Ounces
how
matter.
important pack weight is.
Yeah.
And if you're adding canned food, it's so heavy and it's going to increase dramatically the weight of your pack.
Yep. For not a lot of
food.
Upside for food,
because
right?
it has so much water.
And then also, too, with the can, you have to have other stuff. Now you have to have a can opener, right?
Opener, yep.
Right, you don't have cans if you can't open the can and get to the food, right? So there's just a lot of things to be thinking about. So freeze-dried is really cool. Super, super lightweight. 30-year shelf life. And then how to make it, you just need hot water. So you do need hot water, right? So you need water, and you need to be able to have a heating element if you want a warm meal, right?
I mean, technically, you could add cold water.
You could.
It won't.
And it will reconstitute, and it just won't taste as great. There won't be a cheese pull in the lasagna if it's not hot, but it'll still be tasty. Mountain House, love them to death. But again, the ups, right? You have to do pros and cons for everything, the ups and downs. Super, super lightweight, 30-year shelf life, love freeze-dried. Now you have to choose which brand you get into. I have a story that I tell. I had bought a brand that everybody had been talking about, and I was like, okay, great, I'm ready. Boom, food is set. I bought a certain number of packs. I'm like, I'm golden. One day, I don't know why, I just decided, well, let me taste it. Nasty. It was disgusting. I'm not going to say the brand because that's just mean. Nasty. But honestly, I was like, okay, well, maybe survival food isn't supposed to taste good because I just need to survive. And then I tried Mountain House, and I was like, what? I had the lasagna. It was just like on a random Saturday. I was like, because there was a couple of things I was testing. I wanted to see how easy it was to make. Definitely wanted to know what it tasted like.
Yep.
And they always said it was like 2.5 servings per pouch. And I'm like, I'm not a small guy. I don't think that's going to be more than one serving.
Yeah.
Come on. And so I tested it out. I just went, picked one up. Like I said, did some boiled water, threw it in.
Which one did you get?
I had lasagna, Mountain House lasagna. Mixed it up, closed the pouch, left it on the counter, came back 10, 15 minutes later, pulled out the stirring thing, and there was a cheese pull. And I was like, I was like, this is what I'm talking about. Yo, so good. And it was just tasty. I'm not saying it was good for survival food. It was just good food. And on a random Saturday, I could not finish the entire pouch. So it was substantive. Like, you literally can get 2 servings out of it, especially if you're on the go.
Yeah.
So super easy to make, super delicious, super, super filling. Huge fan of Mountain House. When we got our own company, like, they were one of the first brands I wanted to partner with because I was like, I like what they're doing. I like their mission. I love their product. I want to be a part of that. So I was super stoked when they said, yes, we can be wholesale distributors. I was like, and you didn't even know about it. Remember that?
Yeah. I mean, I had heard of them, but I'd never actually tried it. And then so you had been talking it up.
Yep.
I'm in case you haven't realized, Wesley's a pretty optimistic guy. So,
I like a lot of stuff.
I was like, all right, let me see. So we went camping up in the Adirondacks, and I took some with me, and I was like,
he could not. When he got back, it was so funny. He's like, dude, I'm like, I know, Jason. He's like, no, but like, it was so easy. I'm like, yes, I know, Jason. No, but it tasted so. I'm like, yes, I know, Jason. Like, that's, remember when we had these conversations in reverse? Yeah, that's why I wanted to work with them because they're awesome. So this is not an ad for them.
Yeah, no.
There are other brands that are very, very good. Backpackers Pantry, very good. There's a couple really good brands out there that are doing some good things, but definitely my recommendation is get into the category
of freeze-dried.
Yeah. Because that's where you want to be. The pack weight, shelf life, the ease of management, the ease of use, the ease of cooking.
Yeah. And let us know what, this is just one brand that we like.
Yeah,
we know there's a lot of
brand.
other ones out there.
Yeah.
Which ones do you guys like, freeze-dried foods? Because they're super lightweight, like Wesley said, and easy to make. So which ones do you guys use? Let us know. send us, a message or email. Let us know which ones you're using. So because we like to check it out. We love this stuff. So we're always looking for new stuff to try.
From a company standpoint, as soon as we hook up with them, they usually send us free samples that we get to taste. So free samples. Always down for some free samples. Love free 90 free. So
so we have some Mountain House in the shop. You want to try some?
We will. We're going to take a break. We're going to fire up some hot water, and we're just going to eat because I'm starving. So we're just going to crack one open.
It is lunchtime. It is 12:16 here.
Yeah.
And we did not plan out lunch today.
Don't tell me we didn't plan.
We have a plan.
We have a plan. It is our backup plan, but it is a plan.
It is a plan.
It is a plan that we are going to put into action.
Yep.
Part of our emergency action plan.
Yep. So we're set. We're good.
This is a slight emergency.
Yeah. Food emergency.
But before we go, I want to talk about one other thing. There's another category of food that a lot of people hear and they always wonder what it is. MRE.
Oh yeah, MRE.
All right. So Jason, let me ask it. What is MRE? What does it stand for?
Meals ready to eat.
Beautiful. So MRE. And a lot of times people think about this in connection with, especially if you've lived through a disaster and you had federal aid, a FEMA deployment usually will give these meals. So that's usually how us civilians have contact with MREs.
Because it's a military, usually they have them in the military for on deployments and stuff.
The military use them as well. They deploy them to their troops, so their troops who are on foot, right, can have a meal. And the beauty of the MRE, because I don't want us to think there isn't a ton of value in MREs because there is. And I personally, in my kit, I have Mountain House and I also have MREs.
And some of them are pretty good too.
Oh yeah, because I've got chicken Alfredo with pasta.
Yep.
I love. It's great. I've had it. Obviously, I test this stuff, especially after that other situation. I test this stuff. So some of the pros for MREs is you can now heat your food without a fire. So a lot of times in the military, they love it because obviously a fire will give away a location, right? They don't want to set up a campfire. Enemies will know where they are. So with these MREs, there's a heating element that is very, very small, and it's activated with the chemical reaction of water. So you just put in literally it's 3 ounces of water to activate the heating element. The heating element then slides in on the side of the MRE, and literally there's a picture of the MRE sitting on a rock. That's the instructions. You put the heating element and then you lean it on a rock.
And just warms itself
up. And it will warm itself up, and you can have a warm meal on the go without a fire. A lot of times in the military, too, what they do is they take that heating element once they've eaten their food and they put it in their pockets, which you guys are probably familiar with their BDUs. So they've got the cargo pant pockets. Then the soldiers put those heating elements in those pockets, and then it keeps them warm while they're moving. So there's a lot of utility that could be used with MRE. And for me, what I do is I just went to Amazon. I don't have,
or a military surplus store.
I just went to Amazon. And I was like, dude, they're going to ship it to me in 2 days. So I just go to Amazon, and what I do is the entree only. So a full MRE, I think each meal kit is 2,400 calories.
Yeah.
You've got a little dessert. You've got usually a powder for your drink. There's a ton of stuff that comes in the full kit. I didn't want all that. I just got the entree only. And then I just got a bunch. I got a whole thick packet of the heating elements. So I have a bunch of heating elements, and I've got entrees only, and that's in my personal kit. That's something that I keep because they're tasty, and if I don't want to sit down and set up a fire or something like that, I can just have it on the go.
Yeah.
So a lot of options out there. So you've got your calorie bars. We talked about
freeze dried,
your MRE. So those are the main 3 big categories, and then there's other ways to supplement that. I love Cliff Bars.
Yeah,
240 calories a piece. You can have 2 or 3 Cliff Bars, and you're at close to 600.
And the key, like we said, is shoot for that minimum of 2,100 calories a day, shelf stable. That's gonna have a decent shelf life, and it's high caloric intake.
Yep.
And I know we were kind of knocking canned food before.
Not knocking it.
It's
your choice. You just have to carry the can.
That was specifically for the go bag, right? Canned food still is an excellent option for sheltering in place.
Oh, absolutely.
Fill up your pantry, and because you're going to have access to it at your house.
And you'll have a can opener
at
your house. Love that.
Yeah.
You can stockpile it because you don't have to bring it anywhere.
Exactly.
It's not sitting on your back weighing you down, and then you're out in the middle of nowhere. What am I going to do with this metal can now that it's done? You don't have any of that in shelter in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, too, Mountain House, they've got shelter in place kits, too, where they've got kegs of food. So a lot of options out there for you guys.
Well, we're going to take some break. We're going to fire up the kettle, and we're going to enjoy a little
let
snack.
them watch us eat, which is a little weird.
That is a little weird, but we'll see how it goes.
We'll see. We'll give you our reaction, because I think we're going to try a flavor that I actually haven't had before.
What haven't you had before?
The chili mac?
Chili mac with beef. Have you had the biscuits and gravy?
I haven't had the biscuits and gravy.
Biscuits and gravy is one of my favorites. We're going to have some biscuits and gravy.
Sounds like we're doing biscuits and gravy. That was just a decision he made for both of us.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to have some Mountain House.
Love it.
Hey, everyone. Just want to pause real quick to thank Sawyer Products for sponsoring this episode of Disaster Class. Sawyer Products offer the best, most technologically advanced solutions for protection against sun, bugs, water, and injuries. Everything from water filtration systems to insect repellents. I personally have been using their water filters for years. So if you're at work, at home, or at play, make sure you check out Sawyer Products at Sawyer.com. All right, and we're back. And so we're about to give this a try. So This is Mountain House biscuits and gravy.
Huge fan of biscuits and gravy, so I'm.
But you've never had the biscuits and gravy.
I've never had the Mountain House.
Never had the Mountain.
So I'm gonna be a little critical. Okay. Not gonna lie.
Well, let's give this a shot. So you just tear open the bag.
That was done really well. You look like a professional.
And then you gotta. The only thing you gotta do is you gotta fish out the little oxygen absorber thingy, and then it's just, as you can see, it's just for those who are watching on YouTube, you can just see it's just dried. That's it. And then the instructions say, okay, 1 3/4 cups of water, boiling water. So we got our little tea kettle here. So I'm just going to kind of measure this out. Let's say that's about
graduated.
That's about a cup.
That's about.
Yeah. That's about a cup. So we'll do that. Just add it in right into the pouch. And 3/4.
That is hot.
It's boiling hot. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't have a graduated container, but we'll see how this comes out.
This was how much? 1 3/4?
1 3/4. I might have a little much.
Felt like a little much, but
all right. Well, then we're just gonna
it is what
add
it is.
and
It'll
then
be a little soupy.
You mix it in,
and then you just let it sit. Yeah, these are great for like camping.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I bring them backpacking. They're great.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're gonna seal it up, and
that's it. Now we talk for 8
wait
minutes.
for 8 to 9 minutes. So, Siri, set timer for 8 minutes.
8 minutes, counting down.
Thank you, Siri.
Awesome.
All right.
Or maybe the Jamaican jerk. That's the only thing that's like.
Oh, Jamaican jerk. Sorry, we're planning our post meal.
Right.
But the timer's up.
Timer's up.
And let's see what we got here.
Yeah.
Ooh, smell that.
Oh, that smells good. Oh, yeah, you're going to mix that up a little first. That smelled really good.
I have to say, when I had this one the first time, I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I like me some biscuits and gravy.
Yes, sir. Good consistency.
Look at the pork, look at those pork chunks.
Listen, I was questioning
sausage.
your amount of water. Mm-hmm. Come on. You get a packet full? I'm going to get it all over myself. Calm down. Don't be so aggressive. Thank you, sir.
Hang on. Let's do this.
I'm waiting.
All right.
Man, yeah, you got good chunks of
like those are
sausage
decent sausage chunks. Yeah. I think you got the good ones, though. All right. So, Mountain House biscuits and gravy. Let's give this a shot.
It's going to get all over this microphone. Sorry, Rode. Oh, that's good.
That's
good.
That's good.
Oh, man. That's really good. I mean, I am really hungry.
You are.
But this is good.
It is good. Mm.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Thank you for tuning into Disaster Class.
Yeah.
But as always, there is homework. We have
homework.
We have homework too today that we need to.
This was a great assignment. This was a great assignment. But
Let us know. Make sure you like and subscribe. Send us an email if you have any questions, you have a preparedness tip, you have a story you want to share, hit us up.
Can I add something?
Please.
If you are already a fan of freeze-dried food and have your own brand that you like and or flavor of that brand, please write it in. Like, oh, try the teriyaki. It's really good. Or something like that, because this is amazing.
It's very good.
This is amazing. And if there are other brands that we need to yet discover, please send them our way. We look forward to the opportunity to try new brands and different flavors within this brand. So if there's one that you've tried, please let us know.
How about we make it interesting? Send us some tips and send us what you're doing, what's some stuff you like, and we'll pick somebody. We'll send some Mountain House too.
Ooh,
let's do a little giveaway. We can
send somebody some Mountain House.
We'll send you a biscuits and gravy so you can try it for yourself.
And then we'll have them record their reaction. No, I'm just kidding. No, it would be nice to hear what you think, though, so you know that we're not making it up, that this is just delicious.
So, give us post in the comments if you like Mountain House, what's your favorite. If you have another brand that you like, tell us what that is. And then we'll enter you into get a free pouch of Mountain House.
Absolutely.
So, as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and stay educated.
Stay prepared.
Stay equipped. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Disaster Class is part of the Readiness Lab, the home for podcasts, webinars, and training in the field of emergency and disaster services.